by pistol point. Thank you. Good evening to everybody, except Maurice Ponk. Now, according to this morning's papers, Mrs. Pentle of 2 The Villas, Horseport, celebrated her 143rd birthday, surrounded by her 1,642, 3,129 grandchildren. Though still vigorous, Mrs. Pentle insists in calling herself the oldest Etonian and thinks that she rode for Eton against the MCC in 1812 with Tchaikovsky. She believes that the modern girl plays too much croquet. People will write in and say he put croquet. No. And as she blew out the candles on her cake, unaided, say, for the North Hallerton Auxiliary Fire Brigade, she said she had never seen a train. At that moment, the 732 from 9 Elms to Zurich passed through the bedroom. Somebody spotted it and said, "It's a train." "Oh, really?" she said. "I always thought that was a nuisance." And now, this week's Agony column.
Paulette. The dark-skinned gentleman who rolled his eyes at you in the tea shop and offered to give you an elephant was probably an Indian student. Oh, there's no need to tell your mother about it. Few of these students can afford the luxury of an elephant even for themselves. Try persuasion.
Cyril, you say she hates the sight of you. Well, judging by your photograph, she's right.
Jocelyn, I'll write to you privately.
Hubert, yes, you may indeed be a lady killer, but please don't send us the bodies.
Alice, when your boyfriend tells his pals that you frequently wear a brown paper bag over your head, that's just his little joke. Men like jokes like that, you know. But just in case you do, let me make one suggestion. Wear a blue bag, dear, or a yellow one. Brown is such a drab color.
Janice, people in glass houses shouldn't.
This column exists to inform as well as entertain. I wonder what's gone wrong. This week we launch yet another comprehensive service, Hints for Yourself by your do-it-yourself carpenter, presented by Cyril Gonigal. Cyril?
Good evening, all you do-it-yourselfers. Now, before tonight's practical demonstration, I want to talk to you about wooden tomatoes. Lovely little delicacies they are, cause hours of harmless fun and hours of overtime for the dentist if you should put them in a salad. Now, what is most important is the size. See, a tomato that size, that won't be no good, because people would suspect, see? No, 'tis your mammoth job that sets up a doubt in people's minds. Many's the time I've heard a person say, "There is a doubt setting up in my people's mind." If I didn't know that was wooden, I'd say that was a mammoth tomato. Yes, but you've got to watch out for the wood rot, you see? Watch out for the wood rot, because a mammoth tomato made of wood and it's got horrible wood rot in it, tastes wooden and horrible and rotten. Yes, well, anyway, now I'd like to give you a practical demonstration of how to make an hole in a piece of rotten wood that is shaped like a mammoth tomato. Now, you may think this is easy, but it ain't. A hammer and chisel is far too clumsy. So you've got to take your 1, 2, 3, forefinger and press it gently in, see, firmly like that. See, circuit, there. Now, see, next week I'm going to speak to you on how to lead a normal, happy life with a mammoth tomato stuck on the end of the
Hello! Once again, Snibo, Hollywood's favorite product, is making headlines. Hear what lovely film star Dawn Kedgeri has to say.
secret of my success? Well, it's my skin. I used to have skin like a giant cactus, but now, thanks to Snibo, my skin's so smooth that flies slide off it, unable to get a grip for their little feet, and caterpillars mistake my cheeks for rose petals. That'll be Kurt von Obertrauser, Hollywood's ace producer. Hello, Kurt. You are? You have? You will? Gee, thanks. I've just landed the part, thanks to Snibo.
Use Snibo.
Yes, you two can be landed with Snibo. Many of our greatest inventions were the result of some happy accident. You consider the case of James Watt. Sitting at home one evening, Watt brooded over a boiling kettle. Suddenly, he jumped up with a cry of, "Eureka!" His wife, Eureka Watt, rushed into the kitchen. "What is it, Watt? Oh, what? What is it?" Watt could hardly contain himself, but nobody's perfect. "Look," he cried, "there's the answer to all our transport problems." And without another word, he fitted 4 tiny wheels to the kettle, climbed inside, and took a cheap day excursion to Brighton. And now, page 3, we find Dr. Strabismus of Utrecht, whom God preserve, and vice versa. Good evening. Many female musicians who get married to become housewives, they pine for their musical days. To eliminate their suffering and the drudgery of laundry, I have invented an instrument called the quan, which I have called the quan. Of course, all the garments must be perforated before playing. Now this shirt tail has been arranged for Chopin. Now then, this lady's girdle has been arranged for the Barker roll-on from the shirt tails of Hopland. Both say good. Now we have a lady's chest appliance, which we have arranged for Beethoven. That was Beethoven's 5th. Of course, here we only have 2 of them. Next, this delicate piece of ladies' lingerie has been arranged for Bach. The air on the G-string. Finally, we have here a pair of gentlemen's undertrousers, which have been specially perforated for Tchaikovsky. The nutcracker's feet. Next week, I will tell you how to chop down trees by using only auto-suggestion and a small cucumber. And why the cucumber? Lunch. Did you know that one of Britain's first cinemas opened in Balham in 1896? You didn't? Shame on you. Then obviously you were also unaware that ice cream became popular in the middle 1850s. This meant that regular filmgoers in Balham in 1856 had 40 years in which to finish the flavor of the month before the big picture started. Meantime, cricket, lovely cricket. Oh, that Lord that I saw it. Everybody was there. Everybody.
Out.
What?
Out.
Oh, please. Not that.
I said out.
Have you thought what this means?
Out.
Have you visualized the aftermath? The lonely walk to the pavilion, the jeers of one's friends, the comments in the Times.
There's no other course.
You yourself, umpire, have fans. You know what it is to run the gauntlet of hostile eyes, to be held up to ridicule. Years hence, little children, Mr. Soames, will tell each other the story of how I was run out, given out,
By Soames.
You only make it harder for yourself.
But supposing I were not really out?
It would make no difference. I've said you're out, and that's all that matters. A man is either in or out. Life is like that. Some are in, some are out. You're out.
Very well. You're but the victim of a system, and I bear you no ill will. Your training leads you to believe that I am out. You act according to your lights. Nevertheless, I dream of the day when no batsman will ever be out. When umpires and batsmen will work together hand in hand to build a better game. Goodbye, Soames. Goodbye.
It is not commonly known that the poet Wordsworth was immortalized not only for his works, by the works of others, but like this song. Now, old man's Wandsworth used to say he loved to roam the hills with his butterfly net and his botany book and a sixpenny back at the wheels. And when he'd come home in the twilight, you'd hear his missus a cry. And now, Willie, me lad, where the hell have you been? And Willie'd reply, I've been looking for daisies. A daisy drives me wild. Whenever I see a primrose, I give it just like a child. And what a jacket kidding, I can't spot that stuff. If only daisy tickles you, it's a little bit of mountain buff. Oh, a little bit of mountain, a little bit of mountain, a little bit of mountain buff. Continuing our story of Inspector Malpractice of the Yard has brought a flood of correspondence. Here it is. It would seem that the entire nation is agog with indifference as to what will happen next. You will remember, or you won't remember, you have a choice of two, that the end of last week's episode posed some very tricky questions. What was the significance of the foam rubber deep tread left knickerbocker leg found abandoned in the library? Will the Jewish vicar find his walking stick? Does your mother come from Ireland? Has anybody here seen Kelly? For these answers and others, what's this next thrill-packed installment?
Have you a test tube with some crystals of alum and a Bunsen burner on you?
No, sir, I'm afraid I haven't, sir.
Pity, I wanted to carry out a little experiment.
Forensic, sir?
No, for pleasure, Boubet. When I'm stymied by a case as I am now, I turn to physics. Do you smoke cigarettes, Boubet?
No, sir. I'm a snuff man myself, sir.
A foul habit.
Keeps the head clear, sir.
Then it is clear that you've had none for some appreciable time.
Oh, no, sir, that's not true, sir. That was your little joke, wasn't it, sir?
No, Booby, that was my big joke. This cigarette is the break we've been looking for. It's time for the classic confrontation. Assemble everybody here immediately.
Yes, sir.
Then, amateur nuclear physics, the Falkland Islands' contribution to advanced aerodynamics, the house at Pooh Corner, advanced biology in primates. So, he was interested in the Archbishop of Canterbury, was he? Thank you all for coming. Now watch me closely, Booby. Just 3 well-chosen questions will tell me all I want to know. 1. How many of you were in here last night? I see. And 2. How many of you disliked Sir Henry Fawcett? Hated him?
That's 3, sir.
What?
That's 3, sir.
Shut up, Booby. How many of you smoked this brand of cigarette? Just as I thought. All right, Booby, you can let them go. They've told me all I need to know.
Very good, sir.
And who are you?
I am Petronella Belmonte. You must be the handsome Bobby everybody's talking about.
No, miss. My name is Booby.
The lady was talking to me, copper. Why didn't you come down with the others?
I had to see you alone. There is danger in this house.
Looking for something, Miss Belmonte?
Why, yes. A half-smoked cigarette I left here on an ashtray.
This half-smoked cigarette?
Brand X. Why, give it to me, please. Have you got a light? Thank you.
Miss Belmonte, did you know Sir Henry Fussack?
I hated him. We fought here last night in the library. Sir Henry insulted me. I could have killed him.
Yes, but did you know him?
Don't be silly.
In that case, I must warn you that anything you say may be taken down and used in evidence.
You must be a lunatic.
Yes, but it's only your word against mine. I think I shall arrest you for the murder of Sir Henry Fussack. I arrest you for the murder of Sir Henry Fussack.
Excuse me. Constable, would you mind treading on that?
Certainly, miss.
On what evidence, Inspector?
Well, for a start, the cigarette. Booby.
Booby! It is a barely recorded fact of history that one of its greatest romances burgeoned between Sarah Wackaway, as she was then the belle of Wagwell's Mammoth Circus, and Colonel Anthony Wretch, the big game hunter who died in the Putumayo after swallowing 40 leather thongs for a bet made at a car rally. It was at Wagwell's Circus that they met. She was a lovely creature in spangled tights and entranced the old warrior as she rode round the ring on the back of an elephant, catching flaming hatchets in her teeth and sometimes her head. But all the future held for her was a possible promotion on the death of the old woman who held the whiskey and soda bottle for a giant ape called Brown. That was until Colonel Anthony Wretch happened upon the scene.
Miss Wackaway.
Voila! Alley-oop!
Let me take you away from all this, Miss Wackaway. Miss Wackaway, be mine. Marry me.
Yeah, you're right.
I love you, Miss Wackaway. I love everything about you. The way you stride from elephant to elephant, the way you scratch the back of your neck with your left foot, whilst balancing a bottle of stout on your darling little nose.
Flatterer.
Then will you?
Not before I've cleaned out the elephant stables.
Oh, forget the elephant stables, Miss Wackaway.
What? And forget show business? Never. Alley-oop!
But you... Oh, dear. You shall be mine.
But how do I know? How do I know? You're not some white slave trader just dying to get me away in darkest Calcutta.
Madam, my credentials are impeccable.
Oh, boasting now, are they? You just had to convince old man Wagwell that you can keep me in the style to which I wish to be accustomed. Alley-oop!
At such cross manner, Miss Wackaway, your every wish shall be my command.
Well, don't tell me, tell him! Alley-oop, Roger!
Come in, Cully, come in. Have a brown ale.
Oh, no.
Ah, well, I'll have it myself then.
Mr. Wagwell, I've come to ask for...
I know what you've come for. You're the young josser that's trying to rob us of our young Sarah.
I can give her riches. I can give her power and position. The world of Whitstable shall be her oyster.
Yes, but can you support her in the manner at which she's been accustomed, like this? Can you give her a turn with a whirling midget?
Well, I can introduce her to a very obliging jockey from Wincanton.
That's all very well, but circus people are her people. Her godfather was Feng Hai, the Chinese magician. He made her disappear at the font for 4 hours at her christening. Could you do that?
No,
Then there's her career. She was going to be the great Egyptian queen, balancing 300 foot up on a plaster pyramid with an asp round her neck. She was going to be known as the great Nefertiti. We had her down for that.
When she's Mrs. Wretch, she'll have diamonds and rubies round her neck. She'll forget all about the sawdust and tinsel of Wagwell's Circus.
Yes, but if you was called upon to saw her in half, would you be able to get her together again? You'd be confused. You wouldn't know, would you? No, sawdust is in her blood. How many bearded ladies do you know?
Well, at the last count, there were 13 riding with the Mid-Wiltshire hounds.
Now you're talking.
Oh, then, come on, old chap. Do you give your consent to our marriage?
Very well, just this once, and have a happy honeymoon.
Thank you very much.
Here I am, darling. Alley-oop!
Oh, but, my dear, the parrot, do we have to have that too?
Love me, love my parrot.
Oh, well, Anything to make you happy, sweetness. Does the little fella talk?
Of course he does. Listen.
It's very embarrassing when old big parrots forget their lines.
A bus is the best in the depot. A driver, the best on the route. There isn't a blot on her scutcheon. There isn't a stain on her suit. But why do the passengers flout her? They wait for another bus yet. The reason is plain. She's not wearing a thorough grip garterette.
Are you a rush hour wallflower? Be the most popular girl in the depot with thread golds, the garterettes that give you leg appeal.
Thorough grip, thread goes thorough grip, thread goes thorough grip.
Talking of music.
Wagner's second wife was so musical that one day, when she was out walking in the country, she came to a 5-barred gate. She stopped in front of it and sang all the spots on her veil, which leads me to a new sequence of Poetic License by Roland Milk.
Though bald on top, the common pig will never make a fuss. He doesn't go and buy a wig, or like a lot of us, smear lotions on his hairless head, or call a masser in to rub his scalp when he is in bed, or monkey with his skin. I asked a specialist I knew who lived in Harley Street why pigs go bald the way they do, and leaping to his feet, he cried, "It's wicked carelessness, and serves them damn well right. I'll tell you why they're in this mess. Their hats are far too tight."
There's a lot of it about, you know. And don't forget to renew your poetic license for this year. Now, The Ship That Died of Shame, the saucy Mrs. HMS Flobster. The story of an old naval steam packet whose bulwarks are rotten. We find her derelict, about to be sold to the Afghan Navy for £3.12 or 120 luncheon vouchers. We pick up the story from the beginning.
I don't want to say to her, Apollo!
What do you want, Aphrodite?
How are you getting on with that old boiler down there?
I'm wet and dry sanding her.
I'm nearly done, missus. Good luck. What's this then, Wilson, Keppel and Betty?
Oh, no, we are the three filthies of the famous Filthy Stand Trio. We do the famous plank act, but owing to unemployment, we have given up working. Hey, attain. We are now the Afghanistan Navy, and I am the Vice Admiral.
Oh, I see. Who's the fat one?
I'm Ashura, the fat one.
Oh.
He's the rear admiral.
Well, there's a place for everyone. Who are you?
I'm the admirable admiral. Rizimagan is my name, and I'm the chief betting officer.
Chance to be a fine thing. What are you doing on the Thames embankment? Just tarted up like the Dolly sisters.
We're not doing anything on the Thames embankment, tarted up like the Dolly sisters. We have come to look for a saucy old lady.
Oh, I love...
Oh, well, I'll do my best. Many a good tune played on an old fiddle, eh, Captain Allflower?
No, you are misunderstanding us, oh white man's burden. The ship we are looking for, the old lady we are looking for, is indeed called the Saucy Mrs. Flobster, please.
Oh, well, this is the Saucy Mrs. Flobster, please. RN.
What? Oh, dear. Oh, I don't I don't believe it.
Oh, it's true, look.
What?
There's a name. It's written on the side of that lifebelt.
No, that's the name of the lifebelt, you silly man.
Yes.
What are these chickens doing on the poop deck?
They're pigeons grounded from the crow's nest.
Oh, then we've been spotted.
Oh.
No, madam. I tell you, we are coming from distant Afghanistan on muleback and on hairy camel and cheap day return from Paddington. And we have come here to buy a ship called the HMS Saucy Lobster
And Company Limited.
and we want it for the Afghan Navy. And I tell you, we heard that it's going for a song. Therefore, I bring along a smile and a song for anyone. Only the roses I give.
Can we have a receipt for that?
Oh, it's the distinguished Admiral. Ahoy there! He's come to clinch the deal. Assure us, strike up the gramophone.
Yes, Mr. Mugger. Yes, I will, Mr. Mugger.
Well, then, what do you think of the old hulk?
Oh, I think she's very beautiful.
She's seen service in many, many foreign stations.
When we are sailing back to HMS Afghanistan, oh, please, will you be sailing with us, oh, mother?
What put you see in this? You've got to be joking. I'd rather sail in St. Paul's Cathedral.
What's that? Then why don't we buy HMS St. Paul's Cathedral? Then we can fight the HMS Taj Mahal. What's that? Oh, it's STD. It's for you.
What? You keep in facing number 3 builds?
No!
Then we're thinking.
What?
Sinking? Then that's the right time to sail. Get out your documents. Delete, destroyer, insert, submarine.
Delete, destroyer. Here, that's the one. How do you spell submarine? How do you spell S? I can spell water. What that is? I can spell water. You see, drowning is good for you. Get some today. Broadnose?
Yes. What?
Pick a card. Don't show me. What is it?
9 of clubs.
Correct. Next week. High tide.
Just a minute, I told you what it was.
Well, that's your own fault. As I said.
Get out.
Wait a minute, that's my line. You get out. Stop press. Actress eats town hall. More later. So good night.